to interview? Somebody who writes articles about
About
education?
writing and communicating.
Is that?
Mm.
I used to call that mental masturbation.
Great way to start the interview. Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna teach writing, I believe you have to write. You have to write. I don't see how else you can do it. And I don't think writing about the recent pedagogy or whatever the recent theories on this. It's about writing and communicating, and when I used to sit in these master's classes, oh my God. And the thing is that they don't know how to write.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I read these journals, I go, that's why I called it, mental masturbation. It's like, what are they doing? What are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of this? You write, you go through the process of writing, and you write to publish, you write to get, your work accepted, and that's a process you go through. And from that, you really learn a lot
Mm-hmm.
about how to teach writing. And plus, you learn from other writers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the books that I use are written by writers. So they're not written by theorists or scholars necessarily, but actual writers. So anyway, yeah, that's what we've definitely parted company in this whole thing about teaching writing. They'll like now they'll put they'll structure everything, instead like they do the Gordon Rule. You have to have 6,000 words, right? And we had to do the Gordon Rule, I think, when you were still. I mean, and then they have the timed writings where you have to write an essay in 15 minutes.
That's new.
Well, they don't have them anymore, but they do have them for FCAT and for those kind of things. And I'm thinking, if writing is rewriting? What do you and Hemingway said, all first drafts are inevitably shit. And really, what are you giving? And what are you training? What are we training them to do? Write shit and give it in, and that's that. You write it and you work on it till you bleed, and then you get it ready to to have somebody look at it. But anyway, so so they always come up with these ideas like a busy work, people who don't, it's the busy work of this form, and have them do these exercises, and have them do this, and have them do that, and just read a book written by a writer, and go through the process yourself. So anyway, I just let it roll. I've always just let it roll off, But when I had to go for my master's and I had to do, the scholarly paper and all that stuff, you have to go through the hoops.
Right.
This is where they'll get you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're already focusing. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very interesting how
And
it's working.
That's why I brought up teaching as a subversive activity.
Yes.
That
I
used
need
to be
to
the
check that out.
Oh, you go on Amazon.com and you could get one for about a couple of bucks now. I mean, it's a classic, but that was our textbook at USF. And you think that USF now is probably so removed from that, and but that was because that's why I was really happy when you said what you did. You're going to be leaning in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
It'll try to crush you in every way, shape, and form. It's in here. I think it's in your gut, it's in your heart, and you're doing right. You're doing. I always feel I know I'm doing for those students in there that need to be reinforced. That's what I really, they say about taking your values and being careful about imposing them. I don't, but I certainly don't let a student say something say ridiculously stupid about the environment or about life or about war, without challenging that person.
Right.
And for the student that responds in an intelligent way and has, I'll support that, and that's what rewards me that's where you get your, because you're helping them, and they're.
And there might be a precious few, but they're worth it.
Yes, and it's the same thing with teachers, and there are many teachers that would suppress them, and they've always been suppressed, and they've sat there all these years, and they've been, afraid because they know their ideas are going to go against this power structure or something, and so now you can reinforce it, and say, nah, you have to think like that, you have to be like that. So anyway, do. And it's like writing. When you wrote me the other day and said this, it really moved me. And it's like when somebody, you don't get the pay. I mean, the pay is crap. It pays the bills, so to speak. But it's the same thing with writing. You had to sell a lot of books to make it. A lot. I mean, lots of books. And even though my books have sold thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, I never made much money. But when you get people that write you and you've touched their lives, you've changed them, those are the things that don't have a price, man. And that's the fuel. That's the thing that money can't get. So. Anyway, so teaching and writing are the balance, and writing enables me to be free as a teacher because I have my writing. So it's not all about teaching.
Right.
And I think that what happens is we get afraid because this is all we have. So then they can put strings on us, and we're afraid to ask the questions, or afraid to defy, or afraid to challenge. And we just go along like another cog without, or even saying going along like a cog, but actually doing something that works in our classroom, and stuff like doing that. And if teaching is sometimes all we have, they can jerk those strings because then you're threatened. They can threaten. But if you've got something else too, you've always got that. Right. And that's what writing always did for me. It always gave me. I always had my writing, and of course teaching. That will pay the bills, so they balance each other out. So, because you go into it idealistically, and you get crushed. College will try to crush you. Certainly in education classes. I can't. That, and then, but something I don't know. We don't get crushed. I mean, or somewhere like that alien material that just kind of springs back. And it comes back, crushes me, we're back again.
Well, I mean, it's circular. If you're writing to teach and you're teaching to write, and so something's always sustaining you.
Yes.
It drops out here and you're there.
And what you've just been through, you're teaching your students about. Listen, I just been through this. I just spent 3 hours and wrote 5 words. As Joy said, I wrote 6 words, and I think I put them all in the right order. And so you can relate to your students, and your students, you say, yes, this is about rewriting. It's about these are the tools. This is a craft. It's an art form, and this is what you can do with it. And you empower them. But if you don't go through it, if you theorize about it, and get started. Oh man. So I think really, if you're going to teach writing, write. Yes. Even if it's for the Gulfport grammar or something, just keep, because you have to deal with, you're putting your words out there, and that's taking a risk. having somebody else look at your work. So you know those feelings. So when you bring them into your class, your students are doing that. You know, you can empathize with that. So